breaking news, the Dabertin pool is 85.
And the Dabertin pool is 85,
There you
warmer
go,
than it is
85.
outside currently.
85 degrees in the Dabertin pool. So if I were home, I'd be jumping in right now, but I'm not. Duke, the golden retriever, jumping with me. So, but there you go. 845-1100 is the number to call. And we've got callers, so we're going to go right to the callers. Good morning. You're on the air.
Happy Hot Dog Day, National Hot Dog Day. Were you aware of that?
Yes, National Hot Dog Day. And did you see this, Walt, that the unanimous choice of food critics nationwide for the best hot dog is Hebrew National?
Yep.
Don't know
have you
why.
Had it?
Have I had Hebrew? Yes, I have, and they are good. But I like a beef frank. I don't buy hot dogs. I buy beef franks. I just want a little bit better meat than, I don't really want to know all what's going in there, but I figure if it's just coming from one animal, it's better than coming from three.
How about Vienna hot dogs?
Vienna hot dogs are good. I actually, some years ago, I toured their factory up on the north side of Chicago. And I have to say, it was kind of an amazing experience. I was there for an insurance audit, and I walked in, and the first thing they said was, now, you realize that if you walk onto the production floor, you have to walk through our foaming room. And I'm like, okay. And I walk in, and there's a room, and the foam is about 3 feet deep. And you walk through, and the foam basically is a disinfectant foam that touches your clothes and basically helps make sure that you're not going to contaminate the food. You go in there, and the scariest thing you've ever seen is there are probably about 10 butchers standing there. They bring in their own knives, and their knives are the size of the knives that John Belushi used to carry as a samurai sword when he'd do those funny bits on Saturday Night Live. And these guys are swinging those things full swing. I mean, like you'd swing a baseball bat, right? And they're just hacking away. And I have to say, it was an amazing operation. Vienna beef, I will say, an unbelievably clean facility. And they have like 2 production facilities. So there's like one on the left and one on the right. And the day shift maybe works in the one on the left, and then the night shift on the right. And when they switch production facilities, once again, everything, this foam comes down and covers everything, and then they spray it down and clean it. But they disinfect absolutely everything. So it's an amazing facility.
And the Vienna hot dog is considered kind of a premium, at least here in the Middle West. I mean, if they offer, I love eating hot dogs, and if I prefer getting a hot dog from a place that features Vienna.
Yes, and I agree with you, but one of the funniest things is one of the people that worked there told me that he never eats hot dogs, he eats hamburgers. So, I mean, of course, think about it. You're making hot dogs, but it was an unbelievably clean facility. I just can't believe it. And it's a small, older building, kind of in a nondescript location. I don't remember the exact location. I remember it was on the north side. And you walked in there, and everything was so pristine. It was all white. Every surface was white, or it was stainless steel, but very clean facility. And I have to say, if you're going to, you tour a facility like that, and normally it's like, okay, I wouldn't be eating that. I had no problem afterwards.
Are you familiar with the SIP coffee shops?
I am.
Rhonda Block, who is the operator, do you know her?
I've met her. I know that she just opened a facility in Highland, right?
Yes,
a hot dog facility.
Relish.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about riding my bike there. Donna and I will ride from Whiting Robertsdale down to Highland periodically, and it sounds like somewhere we want to stop. And Sips is also supposed to be opening a facility in Whiting at some point.
Well, the hot dog place in Highland on Highway is located. It's called Relish, and it's located at the same place that the ice cream place called Counter used to be, but has moved across the street.
Okay.
And
I was wondering where it was. Now I know exactly. Okay.
any case, I dropped by because there was an article in the Times in a column by Aaron Dorman. One thing is irritating about him. Sometimes he lists the address of the place. Sometimes he doesn't when he reviews a restaurant. But this item was on July 10th. Highland Hot Dog Haven boasts variety of Franks. Drop by, and they told me that they have like 10 different hot dog flavors, and the workers thought that eventually it would go to 20.
Wow.
And so the wide variety, everything from naked to Chicago dog to a whole bunch of other stuff.
Sure. Well, I will just say this. I really enjoy Joseph Pete when he writes for the Times, when he does his business in and outs column on Sunday, because
Right.
Joseph puts things that you want to know, like the hours
Right.
of operation and the days
Right.
and the location
Right.
and the phone number and the contacts. And you don't always see that in other articles in the Times. So Joseph does a great job.
But it's worthwhile. It's a very clean operation. They deliver the hot dog in like a little plastic box, and there are benches there with umbrellas, and they have sodas, and you can get plastic knives and forks to eat the dog in the little plastic box, and it's a clean operation. It's on Highway about 2 blocks east of Kennedy, on the south side of the street.
Gotcha. Yeah. Again, something that I saw in the Times. Saw the same article you saw. I haven't gotten there yet, but we'll get there. So let me ask you, Walt. We touched on this a little bit last week, but then we obviously we had a situation that. By the way, we're going to talk at 7:00. MX and Dave Gehrman are coming in to be here at 7:00, so that they can talk firsthand about what happened with Trucker Mike, and they're going to be here joining us shortly. So stay tuned for that. And also, I should point out, I'm going to be here Friday. If you don't get enough of me today, you'll get me Friday again. But also the same, not next week, but the following week. I'll do Wednesday next week, and then I'll do Wednesday, Friday the following week. So you get me double duty for a couple of weeks now. But we were talking about the Epstein files, and the Epstein files is an issue that hasn't gone away. And so there's an argument that that basically says that either they're hiding it because there's something to hide on Trump. And Tucker Carlson, who I'm not a huge fan of, but Tucker Carlson has I think, a fairly valid point, which says if they have information, if there's information on Donald Trump in those files, the Biden administration would have released it.
Of course.
So I do think that probably puts him in the clear. Now, Tucker Carlson argues that the reason why they don't want to release it is because Epstein was getting paid off by the federal government. That a lot of what he was doing on behalf of the federal government, and they don't want to release that fact. But
that's possible.
The other the other claim is that they've ginned up the story too much. That it was great. It was great campaign fodder, and now it's put up or shut up. And I kind of buy that theory. What do you think?
You're right, but I must tell you that I'm not in the least bit concerned about this Epstein thing. People, Trump supporters, just going crazy over this issue. There's a much more important issue, and that is, what are you going to do about the Democrat thugs who assaulted not only ICE officials doing their job, but federal officials? They went after the Los Angeles Police Department, and they actually also physically assaulted California guardsmen. That was a shocker for me. I thought that with the guardsmen they would leave them alone, but they did not. And this is spread across the country. And my thinking is, when are you going to start prosecuting these people? I mean, what with the January 6th thing, they were prosecuting grannies for walking on the lawn of the Capitol building.
Look, I agree with you. I agree. If you can prosecute those people on January 6th, you definitely can prosecute the people that are throwing bricks and stones and frozen water bottles and fireworks and all the other stuff that they're throwing, some of which we don't even want to mention on the air, at police officers. You have a problem, you can protest, but you can't take it out on the police. And ICE
Nope.
are police officers, and it's just
Yep.
wrong. I totally agree with you.
It's just so. In fact, I wrote a letter to the administration saying, in effect, look, get on with it. What are you waiting for? I mean, it's been weeks and weeks and weeks. They've done it on national television. I mean, the FBI exerted a huge amount of resources to go after January 6 people. And where are the indictments? When's that going to happen? That's what I'm concerned about.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Walt. There's no reason to not indict these people, go after them, arrest them for what they're doing. You have all this video of them, putting officers in harm's way. You've got facial recognition software. Go out, arrest them, put them in jail. That's exactly what should happen. Hey, Walt, thanks so much. Yes, go ahead.
So
We've got other callers. Yes.
And that is, how did Fox News get the story involving Trucker Mike?
Fox News actually called me, and one of their assignment editors knows me quite well from Pierogi Fest, and she called me and said, we'd like to do the story. So she saw it on social media.
Great story.
And she's a friend of mine, so she saw it on social media and picked it up from there. So we'll talk about that at 7
I have
o'clock.
a question for you and
Sure.
Walt. Do you guys consider a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh, yeah, that's a trick question.
Is that a trick question, or is it serious?
It's serious. I mean, if you think about it, like a Chicago dog,
Yeah.
It's got pickles, tomatoes. It's
I
got the hot
consider
dog
it.
as
I
the meat.
consider it a sandwich, but I know that there are plenty of people who tell me that I'm being sacrilegious. That it's not a sandwich, but I think it is.
I think it's a sandwich.
I don't quibble over stuff like that. I just enjoy enjoy hot dogs.
All right, Walt. Hey, thanks so much for calling. 845-1100. Let's take another caller. We've got 2 callers waiting, and then we're going to go to a break. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
The same question I asked the producer, do you call a hot dog a sandwich? Do you call a hamburger a sandwich? All right. Just because you have 2 pieces of bread doesn't make it a sandwich.
Here's the argument, okay, which is that the hot dog bun is actually split, and therefore you can't call it a sandwich because it doesn't have a top and a bottom. That's the trick question about it. But,
Would you consider a hamburger a sandwich?
I'm kind of in the same boat with Joe. I think if it's got bread and it's got meat in it and it's got toppings, it's a sandwich. But I know there are plenty of people that'll argue differently. So, but I think a hamburger is a sandwich. I think a pastrami on rye is a sandwich. I think they're all sandwiches. But I know that people get very technical about this, especially about hot dogs, Italian sausage, Polish sausage. That's not a sandwich because technically it's only one piece of bread because you're splitting it. But,
And then you get the open face roast beef, right, at the Greasy Spoon. Those are considered sandwiches, and there's only one piece of bread.
Yeah, and you can't lift it up. If you do, it'll be all over your shirt.
Right. Hey, I'll just stay on the restaurant thing real quick. I know you've got a ton of stuff you want to talk about, but it was just funny how you mentioned you guys were talking about hot dog joints, and you mentioned how clean that place was on the north side. Isn't it amazing? It's like that restaurant stakeout show with Robert Irvine, and that was the one thing he always pointed out when he'd walk into a failing restaurant is like the cleanliness. You don't even have time to wipe stuff up. My kids make fun of me when we go to restaurants, and I'll point out the dust on the chandeliers or the lights, and oh, come on, I'm like, no.
You and I both. I notice that. If you walk in a restaurant and you look at the light fixtures and there's stuff like hanging down off of them, there's something wrong. I mean, look, you can walk through anybody's home and there's times where you might get a cobweb or you might get a little dust on a chandelier or a light. But you wouldn't have that at home. Why would you expect that out in a restaurant? You're absolutely right about that.
One of the cleanest, absolute spotless restaurants, actually their kitchen's probably cleaner than their front room, is Peebles on 30 and 41. They've been around forever. But it shows in their food too because it's consistent, right? And I think that's why. Because when you pay attention to the details, then it just always shows through. But
Well, so
anyways, I thought that was interesting you mentioned that.
Teebles has a reputation to hold up. Okay, and so they're going to protect that reputation. They've been around, as you said, for decades, and it's kind of fun to go there because things don't always change. But the cleanliness is always there. You're absolutely right about that.
So, anyways, appreciate it. You guys have a great show. Great day.
Right. Thank you as well. Thanks for calling. 845-1100. We'll take the last caller, and then we'll go to a break. Good morning. You're on the air.
Oh, you were talking about the Epstein thing with Walt. And so
Yes.
here's my question. And I don't know if there was some pervert island or not. I have no – how do I know? But here's my thing. Do you think that if there was, let's say there was, don't you think some real high-profile person would have took a plea deal behind some closed doors and ratted the whole thing out? Or there'd be girls lined up down the street around courthouses filing lawsuits against them? And I just don't see any of that.
Well, I think that's Walt's point. You see the videos of the altercations that occurred out in California at the so-called cannabis farm.
I can prove that. Yes, I can see that with my own two eyes. Yes.
But you see these you see and you hear of these altercations that are going on all over the place, and Walt has a good point. Why aren't they being indicted? Why aren't they being arrested? I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, if you throw a rock or a brick at a squad car in Northwest Indiana, you're going to jail, and rightly so.
Yeah.
And these people are standing on expressways dropping frozen water bottles onto police officers. I mean, how hard is it to say, okay, you with the water bottle, you're under arrest?
Yeah, and you know what really shocked me about this whole subject is that these ICE agents, they're in those vehicles and they're all decked out in their uniforms and whatnot. I just can't believe they don't whip the doors of these vehicles open and smack some heads and throw them in the car with them.
Well, the most disturbing video I've seen is this one with the California cannabis farm, right? And the guys are running up and they're throwing these bricks right at the windows and smashing the windows and doing all that stuff. To me, it seems like one of those truckloads of ICE agents should have emptied out and gone right behind them and walked up behind them and tased them and put them on the ground and arrested all of them. I don't understand. I get it. They're being told to show restraint and all that kind of stuff. But look, if I'm in danger, if I'm a police officer and I'm in danger, I have a right to defend myself. And if these guys are throwing fireworks at me, if they're throwing bricks at me or my car, they're throwing frozen water bottles at me. I mean, a frozen water bottle, it sounds like it's not that dangerous, but it is. I mean, that thing is solid. It's as solid as a piece of concrete.
And here's another thing I'll get, Tom, is that if you throw a brick at me, I'm going to have it in my mind, you're trying to kill me or inflict severe damage to me, and I'm probably going to shoot your ass.
Well, and you know what? I think that's justifiable. Again, I believe
you'd win in court.
I believe firmly in the right to protest. I think if these people don't like what's going on, they have the right to protest. But protest is one thing. You can stand there with a picket sign. You can call people names. You can do that stuff. But when you become violent, you need to be arrested.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but if you caught a brick to the head, you're in trouble.
You sure are. And this argument. What I also don't understand is this argument that we want to unmask the ICE agents so everybody knows who they are and can see their faces, but we never told anybody during the BLM riots that they had to unmask. We haven't told people in the riots, the pro-Hamas riots this past spring, or demonstrations as they're called. We didn't tell them that they have to unmask, but oh yes, the police officers have to unmask. We need to see who you are. We need to see your face so that we can go to your home and we can cause trouble with your family.
And let's make one other thing clear. to the people that are barking, oh, God, they raided the pot farm. They raided the pot farm. Okay, they picked up 11 underage minors in that pot farm. So those people complaining, oh, they're doing the raids and they raided the pot farm. Let's take your 11-year-old and stick them out in that field for 10 or 11 hours a day in the scorching sun and have them pick some pot.
What was the 11-year-olds doing? What were the 11-year-olds doing at a pot farm? First of all, secondly, you're absolutely right. They're out there working like slave labor.
It ain't. Well, what do you think's been happening that southern border for the past 4 years? They're importing slave labor into this country, is what they're doing, and sex trafficking children.
Doesn't it strike you as odd that at times it's so disingenuous when they talk about the people coming over the border, that who's going to clean the dishes in restaurants, who's going to pick your vegetables? Excuse me, but maybe it's time to take a look at what we do and how much we pay those people and the value that we place on those jobs, instead of saying that we can get the cheapest labor on earth by opening up our border and letting people come here illegally. That's not right either.
Well, and I'm sorry, but someone that's married to a Hispanic person, to say those words, who's going to pick your tomatoes, implying that Hispanics are the only, that's what Hispanics do, is demeaning to Hispanic people.
It's very demeaning. It's very demeaning. It's inappropriate, and I agree with you. It's totally wrong when people make those comments. Hey, thanks so much for calling this morning.
Yeah.
All right, why don't we go to a break? You're listening to the Morning Call with Tom Dabertin on WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM, the TuneIn app, and JED TV. We'll be right back.